Welcome to Real Talk Christian Podcast, where we drink coffee and have real conversations on faith, culture, and society. This is Marc Hyde.
And Chris Fuller.
And on today's episode of Real Talk Christian, we are talking with John Tibbs. He's a recording artist out of Nashville, Tennessee, and he has a story about how God was able to use his challenges for his glory. Fuller, you ready?
Let's go.
Thank you for joining us at Real Talk Christian, a place where real Christians talk about real issues impacting the community and the world as it pertains to Christians. Now here are your hosts, Marc Hyde and Chris Fuller.
Fuller, welcome back, dude.
What's going on, Marc? How you doing today?
I'm tired, bro.
Yeah?
I am exhausted, dude. I've been at nose in a computer all day doing manuals and policies and procedures for children's ministry.
That's some fun and exciting things.
It sucks. I'll just be honest. It sucks.
Right.
But, dude, I'm excited for tonight, though.
Dude,
it's been a long day, but I'm excited for
We've
tonight.
been hyping this up to everybody, too. We're like, man, we got the best person coming on for an interview.
And dude, I even
Not just an interview, it's a conversation.
I actually got a text from, so I got two different texts. One is don't screw up tonight. I got another one that says John Tibbs. John Tibbs is here in case you're wondering, but another one just lay said John Tibbs music is awesome. Have fun. And then another one of them is like, you guys are going to do great. Another one is like, ask all the questions I texted you, which we're not going to do that. So my teenagers are even excited for tonight too, man.
Let's talk about who we have.
Let's do it. So tonight we have live, not in studio, but definitely live. We have recording artist John Tibbs with us. John Tibbs went to college at least here in Anderson, Indiana, a little bit south of us, but now hails in Nashville. So, dude, Tibbs, what's up, man?
Hey, it's so good to be with y'all. Thanks for having me.
Oh, and it's great to have you.
Wait, pause. I heard y'all.
Y'all? Well,
I heard y'all.
He's in the south of us.
Yep.
South of us. Oh,
I apologize. That's going to happen a lot.
That's all right. We'll go ahead and take it.
I had to have some fun with it, man. Well, dude, John, we're excited to have you on, man. But here's the deal. So, I mean, Fuller and I obviously have been Instagramming and Facebook stalking you like crazy the last little bit.
And listening to your music. And
yeah, been hanging out with you via Spotify.
Right.
But I don't know if a lot of listeners know who you are. So why don't you give us the quick bio and not just the JohnTibbsMusic.com bio.
Don't give us the Wikipedia version.
No, we want the real bio.
We want the real story.
So I would say that the bio I would give is I'm a guy who been happily hitched for almost a decade now. Emily's amazing. She teaches second grade. And we're here in Tennessee. I've been singing and touring for almost, I started full-time 2013. So coming up on anniversary number 7, which is crazy to me. And I'm a diehard Kentucky basketball fan.
And podcast is done. Thanks for tuning in.
I was about to say, don't hold that against me.
Go Irish.
Go Irish and go Northwestern Wildcats. Woo!
Nice.
Two teams that don't know how to play basketball.
Right,
but okay.
Exactly.
Awesome. It's actually pretty comical because so I mean, as a kid, I was in Kentucky, and then when we got a little bit older, we ended up in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, outside Pittsburgh. I'm a pastor's kid, and graduated high school there, and then I went to college in Anderson, Indiana, and that's the place where I got, basically I got connected to Emily there. We started dating, and of course got hitched, and IT. So it's kind of like I got inducted into the family that's about as Hoosier as it gets, and it's like her ancestors, came out in the 1800s and like hiked out to Anderson, Indiana, and they just like sat down.
Wow.
They've been there ever since. All of her
That's
aunts
old
and uncles and
school.
grandparents are there. So
let me ask you
it's
this, John, real fast.
Yeah.
So if you could pick out one quality trait in Emily that would be your this is why I married her, what would it be?
Oh, that's way unfair. I mean, married so high up there isn't any oxygen, man. So it's like it's really hard to narrow down one.
Good answer. Good answer.
I would say like Emily is so consistent. So it's like
Oh,
all of her
ooh.
good attributes are so consistent. So like yeah, I mean
You
yeah.
know I'm taking marital advice from you right now.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't
But
do
yeah,
that.
I think I think if I would have to answer that, I would say that. So
I've never heard
That's-
consistent.
I like it though. It's something that's unique. It's very unique.
Yeah.
and it
Now,
kind of covers all the good attributes because it's like she's consistent with all those
Right?
things.
That was solid.
So,
Now, does she sing as well, or is it
she
more
did not.
of
Nope.
no? Okay,
Nope. I
I feel her.
actually
I feel her.
when her and I were engaged, I had her in a like a whole group of people singing like on an EP I did, and I was in college, and she about passed out. She was so nervous. She said she's never going to do that again. So
And it was for an EP.
well,
I love it, man. And
Oh,
it was
sorry.
for an EP. It wasn't
Oh,
even
yes.
live.
Yeah, it was just a couple
That's
songs.
awesome. So when you were in Anderson, I mean, obviously, I'm guessing, was it at Anderson University then?
Yep, correct.
Fantastic. So did you grow up Church of God? No, I'm just curious.
Yep, Church of God Anderson, as opposed to Church of God Tennessee, which there's a
Yep.
lot of those people down here. So
Yeah, my fun fact that I don't even think you know. My grandfather, he's Dr. Hyde. Actually, he's smarter than all of us combined. He actually either got his PhD or his master's from Anderson, one of the two. So I actually
That's awesome.
I got some Church of God strains in me.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Now I'm Reformed Baptist, so he's like he doesn't acknowledge my existence anymore. But I'm just kidding.
That's funny.
Not really. But so is that how you found Anderson then? Was just because of your church, your youth group, and that was your guys' university?
Yeah, so I'm a Church of God pastor's kid, and so they always held I guess like a big pastors conference. So I used to go there as a kid, and there's a handful of colleges, but Anderson University has a pretty good arts option. They've had a handful of artists come out of there, and so ended up choosing there, and yeah, so I started there in 2008, and yeah, so that's kind of how I ended up choosing to go to Anderson. It was definitely a good school. So
That's cool. And so from what I'm hearing, you studied music there then.
I did, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, that's
So-
terrific, man. Go ahead.
So tell us a little bit more about like your childhood. How did you get into music?
Ooh, so we were at our house. This is still when I was in Kentucky, so I was under the age of like 6, and my parents were practicing at the house, I think over some songs they were going to do at church this Sunday, and I came up and I bit her in the back of her hand, and like she was playing the piano. And so
You unruly pastor's kid, you.
It's all been downhill ever since then too. But no, so I bit her, and as a punishment, my parents were like, you have to practice an hour every day on the piano. So that's how I started playing piano.
Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Yep, thank you, Mom and Dad. And
I'm gonna start doing that to my kid.
Right?
Grab that guitar. You got work to do.
and so so was started doing that, and did not enjoy it at all, but kept being told I had to do it. And then somewhere about in high school, I started to really get active at our church and stuff, and at this point I picked up the alto saxophone, which I don't currently have on any hours, but then of course the acoustic too, and keys and acoustic are the kind of two go-tos I have, and started diving deep in high school, and I was an athlete. I played soccer and
You're speaking
hoops,
Mark's language there.
basketball.
Soccer.
Yes, awesome. And so like I played that in high school. People really didn't have any idea that like I did music at all, which is pretty comical. The only exception is the kids who attended our church. So so I was just an athlete, and kind of did that at church and at home, that kind of thing. And when it came time, to choose schooling, and you know, the passion for music had kind of gotten so big, where I chose to do that. So, and like about the time when I was probably about 6 or 7, I started having um, a stutter, just like that, and uh, and so kind of like being able to articulate perfectly the exact thing I'm trying to say hasn't always been easy for me, and it's always been like a great outlet, I guess. And I
So
think as
when
I
you
got
play
older,
music, does the
I grew.
stutter go away?
Yes, correct. Nope, I do not
Oh, that's
stutter at
interesting.
all when I
Wow.
sing. So
That's awesome.
So let me ask you this then, because you mentioned like the only kids that knew that you played music was the kids that went to your church. So did you
right.
lead worship in youth group then? Was that kind of where the passion got a little fueled, I guess?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha. So like, I'm even thinking, because we actually have a couple kids who listen. I called him out 2 weeks ago, and he wasn't paying attention to the podcast, and
Yeah.
he snapped back into it.
And
It's
he's
kind
a
of funny.
PK too.
He's a PK. He's my worship leader for youth group, man. He's a super cool
Nice.
kid. I got
Yeah.
a couple other ones that I have one of those talents. Now they're all going to college, and I'm kind of bummed about it.
Yeah.
I'm losing
They're all
three. I'm
leaving.
losing my 3 worship leaders in 1 year.
Man, as a youth
But
pastor, that's about as bad as it gets.
I'm done, bro. I'm quitting. That's it. No more music. That's it. No, I still got some people who can sing, and thankfully I can play guitar decently well. So
Nice.
we'll manage. We'll be all right.
Yeah.
We'll be all right. But as a kid, like as a teenager performing music, um, I guess what I'm thinking of, I think of these kids who are constantly playing music and they love it and they go for it. When did you decide to pursue it? Like as in like this is something I want to spend the rest of my
Yeah.
life doing.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, I'll be honest, I always thought I was going to be on staff at a church and, do some, church conferences or, that kind of thing. I didn't ever intend to just tour full time. That hadn't ever been on the books. And kind of how it happened was, so, I started attending school in '08. Probably by January, I was on staff at a church there doing, doing arts and worship for junior high and senior high church. And at this point, they had a contemporary worship option that was like towards like kids who attended Anderson University. Um, it was a it was it was a church that had like their like adult worship options at the time were pretty much like orchestra and that sort of thing. So
So you had like traditional service, then we had we don't want to lose people, so let's get the millennial service.
right, exactly.
Yep.
And so I started doing that, and then basically as I graduated college, that service kept getting bigger and bigger, and so they ended up offering that as like an adult option to everybody. And so I ended up there on staff of the church uh, full time, which that was the thing I was hoping to do, and um, so and honestly, it kind of came down to a combination of during that season at the church, I had some songs come out of there that I put together as an EP and put it out, and kind of really opened up a bunch of doors. And so I started getting asked to to go to dates, to open up. This is back in like 2012 probably. So it's like
So was
open
that
up
the
for
Swallowing Death, Breathing Life EP from that CD?
yes, you have done your history homework, haven't
No,
you?
dude, I had Spotify pulled up.
Nice, nice.
Take it till
That's
you make it,
funny.
baby. I think I made
Exactly. So that EP really opened up a bunch of doors. I started getting asked to open up for bands like Gunger and 10th Avenue North and all of that stuff back in that day. And so
it. And don't forget Audrey Assad. I know her name. Or was that later?
Yes, that was after that. So it kind of came to the point where I was gone all the time, and it was a church that was going through a pretty difficult chapter, and just kind of got to the point where Emily and I were both like, well, to be honest, I have to give her like every ounce of courage at it. I was way too scared of kind of stepping out because, at the time, Emily had still been, in school because I graduated early, and our goal was to do college and not have debt and all of that stuff. And like I was like the person,
You're like, hey, let's go
that had a
solo.
full-time income, right? And it was like, how in the world can I sing songs and eat and all of that stuff? And Emily was like, you have to do this. And it was just really cool just how those doors kept opening. And so so I stepped out of being outside of the church there. I did all the way up to Easter of 2013, and then I was done. And I did a Kickstarter to do that Anchor EP, which is the second one. And then Audrey and her husband at the time heard it, and it was kind of perfect timing because Audrey had just been getting out of her deal at Capitol and started her own independent thing, and she was going out on her like debut independent tour and all that stuff, and she heard it, and she was like, hey, it'd be great to have you open up. And so that was such a huge opportunity that just kind of happened instantly. And then it was just like after that, just door after door kept opening. So,
but let's not forget, it was your wife that pushed you to do it.
Oh, totally, man.
Thank you, Emily. We appreciate it as listeners.
Yeah, same here, man.
No, that's awesome. So let me go back to this. So you were at the church on staff, and I mean, obviously you were doing the typical, I mean, it was 2012, so
right.
This is before a lot of the big names were even big, which is kind of funny to think that Elevation was even what it is now. So you're leading worship, doing their stuff, doing Hillsong, all these different things. What made you decide to start writing your own music rather than just do the typical worship pastor thing? Yeah,
totally. Well, I always, it's kind of been interesting how it's all turned out. Like, so during that season, there were a lot of maybe like indie or worship acts that were getting some good, traction. Gunker was doing some worship stuff. All Sons and Daughters was just coming on the scene. Daniel Nash, John Mark, Daughters. Yes, that whole scene was just kind of getting started, and I just deeply connected to that and tried to just add to that. It's been amazing because it's like I'm very passionate about corporate worship, but it's it's got a point where it's like I still have corporate worship songs that come out and end up on like albums, but at the same time, that isn't the common thing anymore. And so it's like that's kind of the place where I got started, but just naturally over time, things have birthed out of that, I guess you could say.
Okay. No, that's cool. So let me ask you about your music style then, if that's cool.
Yeah.
So on okay, so I gotta ask, dude, your website bio, did you write that yourself?
I did not.
Because
I'm gonna pull that up because I'm not even sure who wrote that or what it says.
Well, no, you read it and it's like it's that cross between I'm like, okay, this dude is like, I don't know how I mean it's beautifully written, but it's more the fact of just like I would feel so weird typing stuff like this out for myself. You know what I mean?
No, I definitely did not write that.
There you go. That's your agency at work, man.
Yes, it is.
All right. So, but even Wiki says, your writing style is, and I quote, biblically based autobiographical lyricism, which I can't even say the word sixth grade. Like, oh, I said it right.
You almost had it.
Almost. I say sixth graders all the time, so I can't even say that. So what on earth?
He sounds like he's talking about Star Wars. He says Sith graders instead of sixth.
Yeah, and when I say I get made fun of even in my sermons for things I can't say. Took speech therapy, man. Leave me alone, Fuller. But so biblically based autobiographical lyricism. What the heck does that mean? Like,
I couldn't tell you. I didn't come up with that. So
it sounds great, though.
It sounds
that
legit.
was a kind person who put that on there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. I'm guessing that, I'm guessing that that's a very kind person that put that on there. That's probably talking about it because I do have a handful of songs that are just like straight out of scripture, Right. So I think that's what they're probably talking about. But
Right, and then autobiographical lyricism. I gotta change that word, man.
Autobiographical
Yeah.
lyricism.
Which is about your story. So
exactly.
I mean, like Midwest Magic. I'm guessing that's either about your wife or your dog. I'm not sure, but
Oh man.
which my teens have been like they've been hanging out with that song. I sent it to a couple of my country fanatic teens. They're like, "This is great." So,
Nice.
and
Thanks.
one of them's like, she's like, "I had to stop." I'm like, she's like, "Midwest Magic is just hilarious to think about a girl being Midwest Magic because it's just clever." But so are a lot of these songs from your story, from your past?
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, I would venture to say that like 99.9% of tunes come out of that place. Um, and I think the only exception to that is a song that I covered actually, that I put out it was probably last September. It's called Your Hate. And that was a song I heard for the first time. And I was like, that's like the best song I've ever heard. I have to sing this one.
Okay, because I'm like, I thought I heard that on the radio here locally, even though I never listened to radio. But I remember heard it
Yeah.
once, and I'm like, then I heard your voice. I'm like, that doesn't match up with what I remember. But
Yes. So it's
you should have written it though, bro.
oh
Because I mean, your
I
voice is
wish,
amazing with that song.
man, that song, honestly, the first time I heard the song, and there have been a handful of people like that composed that one. Um, but the like I think that the story of the origin, it was right after like a incident at a high school happened, and it was just horrible. And they got together and penned it. And the first time I heard it, I just thought this has to be a song, that is done in churches, because I think it sums it all up with like there's just so much going on almost daily, and it's like that hope that just keeps going is the thing that I just have to hang on to. And I heard it out of a country artist, and so I thought, man, I'm gonna do this thing. And so I've got the opportunity where I pretty much do that song every evening, and I do it in churches, and it's just so cool to see how it's been able to connect to so many different people. I did a gig up in Jersey. I'm thinking it's probably this past September, October, and I did that song, and a gal came up to me, and just in tears, and she was just talking about how it connected to her. And here I am in Jersey, singing about a song that directly talks about all the terrorist attacks that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And there were people there that night that were orphaned because of that. And it's just like things you don't ever even think about. And I just think that's just the cool thing about that I get to do this. And tunes is just that there's something about art that connects different people. And hopefully I'm able to do that and point them to just all the goodness of Jesus. So
Awesome. Hey, so Tibbs, let me ask you a question following up with that. Since you're talking about a song that kind of gives it a little bit of inspiration.
yeah.
Who kind of helped inspire you? What types of artists did you like kind of growing up that kind of inspired and kind of formed your musical style?
Yes. So I would say there's been different like seasons of that. As a kid, I definitely got to the place where I would like digest every CD I could ever hold on to. So, Pastor's Kid Home, definitely had to listen to a lot of, church music, Christian music. So I would say,
Bro, we know you snuck some of the bad stuff in. Don't mess around.
So I did have some backdoor avenues in high school, but like, I mean, in junior high, I mean, it was like, Chris Tomlin, David Crowder, Stephen Chris Chapman. It was just all of those people. Now, then when I got to college, I would say there was like this, like, there's like this like emo era, I like to
Oh
call it.
yeah.
I
And-
love
Oh,
the
yeah.
emo era.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And,
We were all
you
there
know,
too.
Yeah,
I
just
still would
all
be
of
there if
the
it was
acoustic
mainstream.
stuff, right? Like,
Right.
Iron and Line and Elite Foxes and Damien or Ice, just like all of that stuff, right? Then after that, like I said, I really got into the worship scene with Gunger and All Sons and John Mark. And the past few years, I would say I digest like a ton of music, but what I keep going back to is like the old stuff, like the Eagles and Springsteen and Tom
Right.
Petty,
So-
and just all of those kind of artists that I didn't, necessarily digest as a kid, but they were always there. Our hometown, Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. It's like this, like it is the most like stereotypical Western Pennsylvania town in the best way. I always tease it's like
In the best way.
Pittsburgh Steelers like took home the Super Bowl in the 80s and like time just like stood
Stopped.
still. And
Yeah.
it's like still there. And so it's like every time we'd go out to eat or go to school or games, it was just like
Right.
those tunes were always there. And so so I've kind of really been kind of going back and like having like an adult education of like all those things that I didn't get to like dive deep on as a kid, but I experienced. So.
That's cool, man. So I've got another follow-up question with that one.
Yeah.
So my question is what Christian artists that you have not currently met would you look forward to
Oh,
meeting?
here we go.
Oh man.
That's a tough one, I know.
I haven't ever met Toby Mac, and I feel like he's pretty much the only guy at this point I haven't met personally.
Oh, goodness.
Toby Mac. If you're listening
And
right now,
actually-
Toby.
Oh yeah, no. Toby and Stephen Curtis Chapman.
Oh,
And-
see, now you're talking foreign language.
Now, see, yeah, because I'm like in love with his deeper roots, where the Bluegrass Grows CD that he just released in 2019. Like that's
Yes.
my jam right there.
See,
So-
I didn't.
Fuller
even
is our
hear about
resident
that. I
boomer.
need to go listen to it. Nice. No, but like both of like I would say both of those guys kind of created a lot of their own opportunities and have just hustled it, and have been
Right.
so like they have been awesome stewards of their opportunities and have put in
Right.
decades of time, and it's been cool to see. So I would have to say both of those two.
You just became my wife's new favorite person.
Yep.
Because she is like she's from her childhood. She's loved Stephen Curtis Chapman. So
Nice.
you saying that, she's gonna be like, all right, I like this guy. I'm gonna listen to more of his music.
Yeah, see, and I was more of the two extremes where it's like I want Hawk Nelson's Stellar Cart or I want
Yes.
Jump 5. Like those are my yeah.
Nice.
I remember when I met Jason Dunn for the first time, I couldn't speak.
Right.
Words did not come out.
That's funny.
It was awesome.
That's
It was
funny.
A little
awesome.
starstruck.
Very starstruck. So let me ask you this, man,
Fair.
because writing music is what you do. I mean, obviously it's how you eat, it's how you pay the bills. And I was thinking about this, as a pastor. For me, I struggle with, having to fake it in terms
Yeah,
of
man.
if I'm not really feeling spiritual and it's like, hey, Sunday's still here, you still got to preach. The teenagers are still coming. You still got to minister to them, even when, let's be honest, sometimes your cup might be kind of empty. So do you find this to be true also as a Christian musician? And then how do you personally combat both faking it and then not growing in your personal walk, if that makes sense?
Totally. So, I think the experience I've had of being on staff of the church and doing this thing has really garnered me a lot of perspective, and I have the utmost respect for you and for other pastors because of that. I mean, it is so deeply complicated. I think the idea of taking care of your spiritual self and then guiding it, dozens or hundreds or thousands of other people in that, Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, and doing that out of a honest position, especially because I feel like just like inside the church, it's really especially if like you're like in charge, it's really hard to have those kind of honest conversations with people. So you know, I think that is that experience. I think as an artist, it's kind of almost the opposite, and it could just be this, like, just because of this thing I have, but it's like, like, I- you know, I had been picked up and like I did the whole like big company album, that kind of thing, and I've gotten back to like a indie spot, um, and in doing that, it's just like I try to be as absolutely honest and to the point as I can be with people who tune into the constant updates. And so I think that paired with just the avenue of art itself, opens it up for those opportunities to be honest and vulnerable and ask cool questions. And so like I think that's like part of the best thing that I get to do is that I do have those opportunities that if I had been on staff at a church, it would probably be a little bit different and a little bit more difficult. But like there was a song on this upcoming EP that I put out in October. It's called Details, and
Yep.
if you pull it up, it just like asks question after question after question, and it comes back to the chorus where it's just like a personal like God, like I hope you're in this thing. But that's it. Like it doesn't like ever come down on some like I am so confident that you have me. It's just like
it leaves you hanging in that tension.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm able to do that just because of this avenue I have. And so that's definitely been like a huge upside to this position because I think that what you all do as pastors is so freaking hard. So,
And that's why I have a counselor that I meet with every other week.
Oh man, good. Yeah, it's awesome.
He's
I do too,
my
but I still
pastor.
can't imagine. Yeah, that's awesome.
So let me ask you this then. I mean, honestly, I'm listening to you speak, and I'm like, man, that sounds freeing, actually.
Right.
But how do you grow in your spiritual walk then? Like what are some disciplines, some practices that you do?
Yeah, I mean, prayer is just such a huge thing, and I think the last couple years, I've really been able to unpack a lot, and it's kind of been because I've been able to get to a place where I'm okay to go to bed in the evening and not have the exact answer. And it's just been a process of like opening hands up on things that I've tried to dictate and I've tried to be in charge, and you know, that's been a process not just in personal faith but with everything.
Right.
There was this episode, I guess, back in December in 2019. Like I got up in a hotel. I was on tour. I was somewhere in Kansas, and like I couldn't stand up at all, and I just completely hunched over. And I hadn't ever had back problems, but suddenly, like I just had the worst thing where I could not stand up. And I got home, and what ensued from December till February was like every day the pain would increase, and it got to the point where I couldn't stand. I couldn't be in bed. I couldn't be in a car or in a chair without just constant horrible pain I've never had. And what I found is I have like this DNA issue that the area back there is super tight, and I have this like issue that just caused it to tighten and tighten. So it was pushing out like every disc, and
Wow.
so the pain was just debilitating. And at the same time, it's like I tour a lot. I tour probably like 180 to 200 dates. So like I'm in a lot of tiny airplanes, and I'm on a lot of interstates, and I'm thinking, how in the world am I going to keep doing this? And so we started going through all the options, and it got to the point where I had to have an operation. And I'm a healthy guy. I'm a very active guy. if I have a day off, I enjoy like just being outside or like hiking. Like that's been everything. And so it's just really daunting. And, you know, they had this operation, you know, they were able to take parts out that they needed to take out and chiseled it out and opened it up. And, you know, the
Open
operation
it
was
up, like open your back up?
yes, correct. So they actually took like pieces of it out and they did all of that. It's kind of insane. They did all that in a little over an hour. And I got up and the pain was instantly just like over and gone and hasn't been back. And I'm back to doing everything I was before. But during that season, like those 90 days, it was such a journey of like who is in charge and kind of really coming true that like there are people who have debilitating illnesses and they don't ever get healed, and like I have to be okay with like coming to terms with that and just trusting that I'll be okay, and that and sure, I think that even if the pain doesn't ever go or disappear, it's like the activities that I do and you know, touring and like all of these jobs I have with that, like that isn't the thing that I guess like it isn't who I am, and it's like who I am is like a person in Jesus, and that is the only thing that I get to dictate. And so that whole process has really impacted, I think, every area. Cause I feel like that really, you know, was something that I had to come to terms with. And that was a very external thing, but through that process, I found there were a lot of internal things that I was coming up against. I was trying to be in charge. And the bottom line is like, God's in charge. And so that has been something about personal faith that has, I think, just been such a huge kind of just journey and season. And, you know, that was the whole purpose that I answer per air, because like, I think just the conversations back and forth with God is kind of how I am able to process those things. And so, yeah.
Wow.
That is a very complicated answer to a simple question. Sorry.
But it wasn't a simple question, and we definitely. I mean,
that's the real talk, man.
If you were here watching us right now, like you're telling the story, and Mark and I's jaw are like to the floor. We're like, what? That's crazy, man. It's great to see that through the help of the doctors, you know, God has healed you, and you're able to go back to the activities that you're doing, and being able to tour and being used by God as a tool to help others worship Him. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Well,
and was that kind of go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and like, you know, that was a particular situation I had, but you know, I think all of us have those things, and you know, I just always like I had a person, you know, come up to me after a concert, because I talk a bunch of, you know, gigs and kind of give a bunch of insight to tunes and all that stuff. And they're like, man, you've experienced a ton. And I was like, yeah, I have, but also at the same time, like, I don't think I have. Like, I just think that somehow I've been given this gift of like being able to like point those things out. And, you know, I tease like, maybe I'm just like such a narcissist that like I have to like see all those things about me. But
dude, you're creative, bro. It's a blessing and a curse. You're creative.
Exactly. But like, I think truly that we all have those things, and it's just, you know, it's up to us to like handle them appropriately and process them appropriately. So hopefully,
it's good when... Go ahead.
Hopefully the experiences that I have and like, you know, how I'm able to experience it, like, and just kind of opening up about it, hopefully it can like encourage others to do that too.
Well, the great thing about you opening up and telling like this story here on RTC with us and sharing that with us is that oftentimes I've talked to several people, and even myself included, you know, you think of a recording artist who's out touring and stuff. It's like, man, you know, God's got their hand. Nothing ever happens in their life. Like God's just guiding them through, and it's great. And to hear that story, it brings you back down to that. Hey, you know, we're all made in the same image of God. We are all
Absolutely.
equal. So it's great to hear stuff like that. It's encouraging to me,
Awesome.
as just a steel worker, that, hey, everybody is on an equal playing field with God.
Yep,
So it's
absolutely,
great,
man.
man. We appreciate you sharing that story.
No, yeah, definitely, man, definitely. Now, hopefully, I mean, we've been going for a little bit. Hopefully, you still have some more time to hang out with us.
Yeah.
So I was thinking back because I think you mentioned it in passing where you had the stutter problem, like when
Yes.
that kind of came about too. So before we get to there, how old are you, bro?
I am 29, so and my birthday is March
You'll
22nd.
fart.
So, yep,
You'll fart.
He calls you
almost
an
into
old
my
fart.
30s. Hey, man, it's
So
true.
I'm 30, almost 31. Mark is
I just turned
28.
28,
Yeah,
so
Nice.
you're not
in
an old
good
fart.
company, bro. You're in good company. I call everyone a boomer who's older than me, but
Yeah.
it's all
That's
good.
funny.
It's all fun. Yeah, don't tell Soche that because he will go at me.
What we discussed in our last podcast that we recorded was that Mark is a millennial with like a Gen Z attitude because he hangs out with he hangs out with the youth so much, like he thinks like a Gen Z guy. So.
I haven't said any like Gen Z phrases yet though.
And he hates calling me a boomer all the time because I'm like, thank you.
Yeah,
like that's a compliment. Thank you.
Anywho, but so I mean, you're right in the same age as we are, which is I think is dope. There you go, it's dope.
Awesome.
But so you talk about the back issues that you had and how you were able to reevaluate and re-put the fact of no matter what happens, hallelujah anyways, God's still good, I'm still his son, he's still my father, this is who I am. Did you kind of have an identity crisis like that when the stutter came as well? Like, is there kind of a story that goes along with that?
I would say that the stutter's always been there. So, I got the stutter as a kid now, but like it has always been there, but I haven't always acted as if it has been. So, and, I'll go through seasons where it's not really that big of a problem, seasons where it's just awful. So, it's definitely still something that I experience like day in and day out.
Right.
So I started stuttering when I was it was right after moving to Pennsylvania. So anywhere from age like 6 to 8 or so.
Okay.
And, saw doctors and all that stuff and picked up on, things to be able to do to skip over having a hard time talking. And I think that was helpful as a kid. But it had always been something that like I was putting a lot of energy into, skip it over having a hard time talking. But, that's easier to do when you engage with like a particular group of people every day, like day in and day out. It's like, that's the group of people that you engage with. And, all of us have our
family.
Yeah, exactly. But like, back in 2014 when I started touring and I started talking to strangers every day. And that is just when anxiety just spiked. And I can't say that. I've always been very anxious about it. There was a time in high school where I was, in the hospital for 2 evenings just because I was so anxious. I was so ill. But like, so it's always been a thing. But, after I started touring full time, that is the place where it really just peaked. And I was so afraid of owning it and just accepting it and just kind of being okay with it, honestly. And, because I was so afraid that was going to be the only thing people would ever like that would be the only thing I would be identified as. And, got to a point where I was like, I just can't hide this. And, it's been such a awesome personal journey. It's like, I got in a place where I see it as just like, it's called the John Tibbs accent now. Like,
I love it.
It is just like who I am.
It's the Tibbs.
It's the Tibbs.
It is just who I am. It's a piece of me. and I'm okay with that. And at the same time too, opening up on stage, it has just provided so many opportunities to talk to so many different people who have experienced that or who have experienced something completely different too.
Right.
And in scripture, it says our in our weakest hour his power is perfect. And it's like that's something that I experience like daily, and to be able to encourage people in that is something that that I just think is something so important, and so I keep doing it, man. So
I like it. Yeah, I mean, we all have to remember that we're made in the image of God, and we're perfectly and wonderfully made. God doesn't make mistakes. He makes us who we are so we can reach others that are lost and don't know him.
Totally.
Right. And it's that 2 Corinthians passage too, where it's the fact of I went through this so that, or not so that, but since I went through this, I can help other people to
I
see,
can reach
you
those
know
people
what?
in that same
I understand. I've been there, but look what God has done in the process.
Yeah, definitely.
No, that's really cool, man. So,
Absolutely,
man, we've had a good long conversation. So I don't want to end it though. If you got anything else you want to say, man. So before we stop recording, is there anything you would like to share with the listening crew, just about what's going on? Any more stories from you that you would like to share, or just maybe even stuff that's coming in 2020 you're excited about?
Yeah, no. I would say if you haven't yet, definitely go to either Apple or Spotify or YouTube and check it out. And if you do dig it, like it helps us a ton if you hit the add button or the follow button or any of those things. I'm kind of in a season where I'm changing where I used to put out just like an album at a time or like a couple songs and then like an EP, but now we're just putting single after single after single. So there's a lot of tunes that I just put out. I put out like a single in September, October, and December, and we just dropped one on Friday. Awesome. And then we've got a couple other ones coming up. So definitely just kind of check those out. And then of course I'm on Instagram and Facebook way too much, but I answer everybody on there, and I think
Really?
it's a great,
Okay.
Yes, every single person. So it's just a great avenue to stay in touch. So I would be so happy to stay in touch on there as well.
Well, if there's a dude by the name of Nathaniel Latson blowing you up, let me know.
Yeah.
I'll shut him down.
Okay.
He's one of my teens who loves music, and he gave me a list of questions.
I mean, he just picked up the lead guitar, like what?
Nice.
3 years ago,
3 years ago. He's 17. He'll shred your face off.
Yeah,
like, he's good.
He's getting really good.
Nice. So. That's awesome, man.
It's a lot of fun. Well, hey, so I want to end it with this though. So something that we bring it on, Nathaniel. Something that we have not done yet, and I want to try this out. But I'm thinking I have some questions from some of our listening friends and from me, and I want to go rapid fire with these questions. So I'm thinking quick little snippets from each one of these questions. Some are random, some are relevant, some are just dumb. But we'll see what we got. So rapid fire, quick response. Let's see what we got. So the first question is what advice would you give to someone wanting to enter the music scene professionally?
Ooh, I would say be faithful in every opportunity that you get.
I like it. Ready? Next one. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Ooh, I like that.
Man, I would be Peter Panning it up, man.
Oh, yes.
Tights and all.
I love it, dude.
Clouds.
Heck yeah, I love it.
That isn't a superpower, but okay.
Is that going to be your like the next time you're touring? You're going to be like full Peter Pan dress, or
wear the hat on stage? I was expecting flying, not Peter Pan. Like that just threw me off.
I love it, though. I love it.
All right, what's your outside the Bible, because we're all good Christians, but outside the Bible, what's your favorite book?
Ooh, it's impossible. I read a lot.
Oh, so you're a reader, okay?
Yeah, I'm a kind of a history nerd, so there's a few biographies I've been going through and autobiographies. The guy who started Nike has a great book.
Yeah, that's a cool story.
Dog. course, Springsteen has his, and Grant is an additional good book. But there definitely isn't just a single book.
So what are you reading right now? Like,
I'm going through Shoe Dog currently. So
I don't know if I know that one.
Yeah.
I'll say,
Yeah. I don't know if I know that one either.
Who's the author?
So that is the autobiographical book out of the guy who started.
With Phil Knight. Okay, I just pulled it up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Shoe Dog with Phil Knight. Okay, so you are currently reading that one. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I watched the documentary, and that was a little quicker, so that's what I did. But
okay.
So next question. You're a singer and a songwriter. What's your process from the idea to conception with your songs?
Ooh, every song has its own journey. Some songs come instantly. Some songs, you get a little idea and you hash it out with a billion people. So there's definitely isn't like just a single go-to step-by-step process.
Cool. Next one. Is the idea of a starving artist true? Like ramen noodles and hot dogs, baby.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it can be, but I think there's a lot of avenues out there to take care of yourself. So
right.
So what's the biggest? Now this is not rapid fire. This is Mark literally curious as all get out. How do you make your money? Like, is it mainly CDs? Is it mainly tours?
So I mean, it's a little bit of everything. It's someone told me early on that this is a big business of I'm gonna try it. So he had this thing that he said, and I am totally blanking out on it. So never mind. Basically the thing he was getting at was there are so many different avenues of income in this business, and so it kind of just all adds up. I mean, think about it. It's touring and table sales, and then Apple and Spotify and YouTube and streaming and downloads and all of that stuff, and sponsorship. So there's just a little bit of everything.
That's cool.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Not podcast because we have no money.
Yeah,
but
we're self-funded.
All right, here's the next one for you. What skills do you need to have as a recording artist, and what's the best way to hone those skills?
Recording artist. Ooh, as in you're doing it yourself?
Yeah, I think that's what they were going with, because you're a big independent guy.
Yes. So I do not have that skill. I decided early on that was a technical space that was very complex, and there's always going to be someone who does it technically better. And so I decided early on that I was going to get really good at the actual art of crafting a song and executing the song, and I was going to be a smart business guy and put myself in a place where I can pay the great studio guy to do it. So that's what I decided early on. I would say if someone's going to be doing the technical end, which is a great avenue, I would just say you don't have to necessarily go to school for that, but become an understudy, become an intern, and just take every opportunity you can and just spend a lot of time in the studio. Definitely, take a course or two, go through books, all of that stuff, because it is a very technical thing, but you also need a lot of experience. So yeah, so the combo of take a couple courses, go through books, YouTube tutorials, and then just start doing it in your house and all your off time, and beyond that, try to do an internship at a studio or something.
Okay, cool.
So now I guess it's another question. So you would say rather than go to school for it, just do it, kind of, or coming from a guy who went to school for it,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go to school to do I didn't like take like studio classes at school. I thought you were talking about that whole end of things.
Oh, yeah.
I'm never going to discourage anybody from going to school. I think having education is fantastic. I'm just saying there are different avenues, and if like
Right.
going to college just to do studio work isn't in your cards, that's okay. There are other avenues, but like
Right.
definitely put in like a lot of time educating
I like
yourself and getting a lot of experiences.
All right, last one. You ready?
Bring it on.
If you could have any guitar in the world, what would you have?
Oh man. Wow.
This is a nerd question. This is a nerd question.
I can tell you mine, a 1967 Gibson SG.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
when are you gonna get the money for that, bro?
It's about $8,000, so that's why I haven't bought it yet.
See, I just want an American-made Fender jazz bass. Oh no, actually Jaguar.
Nice.
Jaguars. I'm a Jaguar guy now, but
Nice.
I got a Squire. I ain't got money for a Fender. What's your dream axe, man?
I mean, I currently have a D18 that was built in the 80s. It's fantastic. So I would need something to accompany that. I would go with like a tinier guitar. It's probably built in the 60s. I would probably go Gibson. So,
there you
but
go.
I don't
That's
have like a
boy.
specific type. Mainly because I'm a practical person and I cannot spend time thinking about that, or I will end up in a guitar shop buying it. Then I shouldn't do that right now. So
You sound a lot like me. That's why I don't go to guitar centers.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, hey, dude, man, Tibbs, I'm beyond thankful for you,
Yeah,
bro.
man. Thanks for coming on and joining us.
That was a whole lot of fun.
Very much.
Thank you. But before we end, though, Tibbs, we have a tradition that we do on our podcast,
Since
and
day
we want
one.
you to be a part of this with us.
Okay.
We do fun facts with Fuller at the end of every single episode, where Chris tells us the world's dumbest facts.
Actually, today's not a bad one.
Today's not a dumb fact?
And some people may even know this one, but I didn't, so I'm bringing it on.
All right, so you and me, Tibbs, we are going to enjoy fun facts with Fuller.
All right, here we go. Did you know that singing in a group boosts your mood? Multiple studies have been conducted that prove singing as a part of a group provides numerous physical and emotional benefits. Researchers have discovered that singing is soothing and does indeed raise one's spirits and mood. When you sing with others, the body releases feel-good hormones like oxytocin, I think that's how you say it, I don't know, and reduces stress-causing ones like cortisol.
Unless your name is Emily Tibbs, and then you want to pass out.
And then, yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
Emily.
I had to toss that one in. That's awesome. Well, dude, seriously, Tibbs, so where can people find you real quick before we sign off?
Yeah, any digital outlet, I'm on there. It's just JOHN TIBBS, John Tibbs. Search it on, anything, and I will pop up. And I would be so happy to stay in touch.
That's awesome, man. Well, dude, John, thanks for having us. Thanks for being a part with us.
Absolutely. Seriously. It was so awesome to talk to y'all. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Yep. Talk to you later, Tibbs. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
All right. Bye.
Fuller, what do you think, bro? We just got done talking with Tibbs.
Man, Tibbs was an amazing guest to have on, to hear his story and some of the things that he's gone through as a child, a PK, all the way through his musical career so far.
Yeah, that was cool. And this was a guy that I don't know if most people know, like, we didn't reach out to him. Like, his people reached out to our people.
It was great, though. I'm so glad that was God orchestrated right there, man.
Dude,
for us to get to talk and have a conversation with Tibbs, man.
It was awesome. And we even made a friend and a contact.
Yeah. It's going to be great to carry on that relationship with him and really grow the brotherhood that we already currently have.
So what was your favorite part of the podcast?
Oh, man. That was, I think my favorite part was probably his story about his back, because it was like an awe drop moment for me. It was like, wow. And that's why I said it during the podcast of, man, that was real, man. That brought you down to that human level for me. So
like our jaws.
We were like
literally dropped.
Mouth open for like 3 minutes. We were like, what? This is crazy. So, but Mark, what about you, man? What was your favorite part of the podcast?
that story was cool. Like that was one that I didn't see coming.
Right.
You know, like I knew going in like a little bit of his backstory, not
we did our
necessarily
research a
I mean,
little bit,
yeah,
so.
we did our research and when his people reached out to us, like she mentioned just like a little blippet of what Tibbs'
Right.
story was, but I really didn't know all of that. What I thought was actually super cool was actually I enjoyed the rapid fire questions.
Oh yeah.
Because he went into like he went even into more depth of some areas of what does it mean to be a singer songwriter.
Yeah.
His books, like the books he reads,
Right.
like
Yeah,
like
that was
like
cool.
like when you listen to recording artists, like you think of the big ones right now, like especially in today's Christian music sphere. You know, you got the classics, Jeremy Camps,
Right.
Toby Mac. He
Lincoln
mentioned
Brewster.
it. Yeah, Lincoln Brewster, Chris Tomlin. You think of these big guys, and they're these insane people with millions of followings and millions of dollars and record deals and
Right.
churches, and it's like they're all successful. And then Tibbs over here on the flip side, where he's like, I like to read books. I have a dog.
He's
like
like,
I have normal things that are going on in
I'm
my
a
life.
history guy.
Like,
it was
that was just
wow,
kind of
man.
cool. Like we got to see the inside scoop of someone who actually was a major record deal writer.
Yeah, it was.
But more than that, I think what actually impacted me more was off the air.
Yeah, that conversation.
Yeah, because he mentioned
post-recording.
he was just a humble dude, man.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even mention that he's been on tour and even wrote a song with Matt Mayer.
Right.
Like Matt
Yeah,
freaking
we
Mayer.
discovered that
Lord,
afterwards.
I
We're like,
need
wait,
you.
what?
We're like, wait a minute, bro. Like you did that? And he goes, oh yeah, I did that. And then it's like
2015, he did stuff with
the
the
Newsboys.
I mean,
and
it's
he didn't
like
even
what?
mention it. And then at the end, he was like, "Dude, what are your socials? Like, are you guys like? Do you have kids? Are you married? Do you have animals? Like, he's like, he
Yeah.
wanted to know about us.
Well, and then it was like great. He's like, man, next time in the area, like, let's go to Chipotle.
Let's go Chipotle.
I'm like, yeah, we're down. Let's go.
So I had dude,
It was a great
it was
time,
a
man.
great time.
Yeah.
But hey, if you're still listening at this point in the conversation, Tibbs actually gave us some music downloadable MP3s. I know a lot of people do Spotify and Apple Music and all that kind of stuff, but Tibbs is going to be giving us like some actual MP3 downloads that we'll be able to give to the people.
Right. So listen to him, share him.
Yep.
Get. Tibbs is such a good guy, and his music is so powerful.
Support the man.
Support the guy, man.
Right.
Support him.
So here's how you can access this free downloadable MP3s. And I'm not sure if it's a full EP or if it's one of his older CDs.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gotten it yet. But what you're going to do is you're going to go to our show notes. And inside of the show notes, there will be a Dropbox link or a Google Drive link based on if I think my Dropbox is full, so it might be Google Drive. And all you got to do is click that link and you can download them. And if you have your phone, if you got your computer, anywhere you want to put it, you can put his stuff right there. And that's his free gift to us as RTC family.
Yeah.
So,
And again, a special thanks to John Tibbs
Yeah.
for one, giving us that music and coming on the show with us and having a real conversation, because that's what this podcast is about.
it's all about, man. So, hey, give him some love, give him a shout out, follow him on Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, keep
Twitter,
up with him. And
everything.
he even said he writes back to every single person that
I know.
contacts him.
That's awesome, isn't
That's insane. Like that's what I'm saying. The dude's a humble guy.
Right.
He's a good old boy.
Yep.
He's a good old boy that we now can call friend. So that was cool. Awesome, dude. Well, hey, anything you want to close out with before we go?
it? Man, I would just say to continue to pray for John and his wife, Emily.
And their dog, Lady.
And their dog, Lady. Yeah, cannot forget the dog, Lady. But, yeah, continue to pray for them. Reach out to us if you guys have any questions, concerns, comments. You guys can hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or you can, comment on one of the Spotify or whatever.
Just hit us up.
Just hit us up and let us know what you think of the show.
Awesome.
And listen to John.
Awesome. So until next time, guys.
Take it easy.
Thank you for listening to Real Talk Christian. To help get our podcast into the ears of other people who need to hear these conversations, we would love for you to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. To keep the conversations going, feel free to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and share our content with others. See you next time.